Well, I should be the one to collect the proof with this state-of-the-art device. All done. As newly inculcated members of the undead, you will experience periods of bloodlust which you will have to satisfy. These cravings can only be quenched by the consumption of living human brains. Just keep you going. Any questions? Good.
Hey, pals, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Steve.
And I'm Lara.
Hey, Lara's back.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks, guys.
So, we didn't get Witcher out to you guys with Lara and Steve, but eventually we'll go back to it. Yeah, there's a lot of time because there's not a lot of content out there eventually. So we will get to it at some point to finish up the last of, what was the Henry Cavill?
Yeah, the Henry Cavill Witcher. Mm-hmm.
So, but for now, we are continuing our coverage with Good Omens Season 2. So keep in mind, this is a spoiler-full podcast, but I don't really think this is spoiler-full since a lot of the listeners and viewers out there have been able to watch the show from the time it's been on. It's been out for a while, and we just haven't gone back to it. There have been times like I took a week off, Steve took a week off. We just didn't, and then Rob has been out, so we haven't gone back to it. But eventually, we will finish this up. We plan to finish this up this week with 3 and 4, and it's spoilerful, blah, just like I stated. And obviously, with 5 and 6, we'll finish up the season. And then after that, obviously, we'll get to Loki. But like I said, this episodes 3 and 4 of Good Omens. So episode 3 is I Know Where I'm Going, and also featuring the minisode The Resurrectionists or Resurrectionist. Mm-hmm. Is it just one? And
you figured out the deal with the minisodes, Steve?
Yes. Yeah, I think TV podcast industries clued me in on it. That's the title of basically the B story, the episodic part of this.
Yeah.
Of this series is these they're calling them the minisodes.
Little flashbacks.
The flashbacks that are within the episode.
I don't think of them as minisodes. I think they're just incorporated within the episode.
Yeah, it's a weird way of wording it for the titles to put it. And it does come up on the screen when you pause it in Amazon Prime. It comes up and says featuring the minisode, the Resurrectionist. So that's the actual title, but still, it's a little strange. It's like, why would they just like put it in parentheses or something? Maybe I don't know.
That confused me too. I was for a little while clicking through Prime and X-Ray and everything. Like, where's this minisode?
Yeah, and I'm like going to YouTube, going, where's this minisode at? And it's like it's not showing up. And then, like I said, I think it was TV Podcast Industries. I think it was their podcast that mentioned that's the title of the. You got the serialized main storyline with Gabriel and Heaven and Hell, and then you've got each episode has its own episodic
minisode.
Yeah, we'll use their word for it.
It's actually something that somebody had online. That's why I have that in there. Actually, I think that was in the title.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like when you pause Amazon, if you pause it on Amazon Prime, it's at the top of the screen. It says that all those words come up as the title of the episode. So
okay, so yeah. But my feeling is it's just the episode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or flashback or whatever. So
yeah, I see it as a flashback and a continuing episodic tale of Aziraphale and Crowley or Crowley?
Crowley. I think it's Crowley. Yeah.
Yeah, they call him Crowley, but I like saying Crowley.
I've heard it both ways.
Like Aleister Crowley. But because he's kind of, he's a demon. Anyhow, the synopsis for this, Steve?
Heaven sends the angel Muriel in disguise to spy on Aziraphale and Crowley. Aziraphale drives to Edinburgh in pursuit of his clue and learns a little about a lot. It's a weird sentence. The couple's visit to Edinburgh in 1827 involves grave robbery, a statue, and an unfortunate encounter with a vial of laudanum. In the present, Crowley is in charge of the bookshop and is disappointed by human beings and the weather. So there we go.
The weather and how it interrupts a coupling, as it were.
Yeah.
It's funny too, thinking back, because we covered the first 2 episodes, and I really like the second one, but I'm really catering more towards 2 and 4 now, but I still like 3, and 1 was a great setup. So that's my overall thought. I just like the different views within it, of like Aziraphale and Crowley's relationship and how it progresses, and then even in the minisodes, you get to see how their relationship over the eons have prospered, and you can see their dynamic, and that's what I enjoy about this.
Yeah.
We get to see there's a kinship there that you can't break, and I don't think heaven or hell could actually break it. So I think that's what is so amusing to this, because they're complete opposites, but they still are great friends together. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for my part, I think I'm enjoying the flashback, the minisodes, even more than the kind of main storyline, the main plot, because it's just so right now. I mean, we can see from watching 3 and 4 together, I can kind of see where it's going with that main plot, but it doesn't. That story just to me is not. I don't know. It's not as compelling as I'm enjoying the flashback parts of the episode more than like I said, the A plot line, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think this season is overall just not as plot heavy as season 1.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of focus on character building, especially with Aziraphale and Crowley here. We're getting a lot more of their backstory and more of their character building. So this episode was my favorite so far in the series. I love it mostly because of it's kind of a vehicle for that very quirky British humor. And I grew up watching Monty Python from a young age. My uncle worked for for PBS, and so he got me into watching Monty Python when I was like 6, 7 years old. So I love that quirky British humor. And I love that the minisode took place in Edinburgh, which was a place that I visited like three or 4 years ago. And it was so amazing. I just loved it. So it just gave me those nice feels of Edinburgh, which is a bit of I describe it as a total Tim Burton town. If you ever go there, it's got all these dark spires and castles like right in the middle of the city. So it worked perfect for a grave robber storyline.
Nice.
Well, especially when Elspeth actually when Aziraphale goes, "I'm Mr. McFell," and then she kind of is like, "Oh, English," like because Edinburgh is literally part of Scotland, right? Am I correct, Lara, in stating that? Okay, yeah, because
is it a different island than Great Britain, or is it the same? I'm so not a geography person. Like it was just like 3 or 4 years ago that I realized that Great Britain is technically an island, and I'm like, it's a pretty big island, but like I feel like an idiot. Like I was in my late 40s before I figured out that it was from an episode of Lost where Desmond is talking about it. He's like, oh, Great Britain is an island. Okay, so Scotland. Where is Scotland in relation to Great Britain? Or
it is north of it is north of England and Wales. Yeah. It is up north, and it does have some smaller islands as part of it, but it is the main northern part of the UK.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And there's always some sort of like hostility between, Scots and English and Welsh.
Yeah, because I've been to
Wales. They
don't
have a great history.
No, they don't.
I've been to Wales, but we didn't go to Scotland, America. So yeah.
You're a Yank.
Okay.
But the one thing with me, the only way I know about it is through Iron Maiden, because their manager is Scottish and he comes from Edinburgh. Okay. So Rod Smallwood is a Scot nonetheless. Excellent. And I think their lead guitar player Yannick is as well. But doesn't really diverse them. Yeah, it's a bit diverse, but it's the same country, honestly. Nonetheless,
don't say that to Scott. Watch out! Don't tell that to Lucy.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, that's like calling an Aussie
a Kiwi,
a Kiwi,
or an Aussie, or vice versa.
Vice versa. Yeah, you get smacked in the face, or a soccer ball, football to the face. Actually, But all right. Yeah, I think overall, I think we like this episode. And from what I could tell, there's parts about it that I do truly enjoy, but there's certain key parts of the show or the episodes, I should say episodes, and the episode or slash minisode. And I think we have a basis of like what we're going to talk about. So, Lara, since you're back, why don't you tell us your first favorite scene within it?
Okay, I think I start off with the minisode of the Resurrectionists. It's the name of a bar in Edinburgh, but it actually is also the story of these grave robbers that Aziraphale and Crowley encounter in 18th century Edinburgh. And it teaches Aziraphale a little bit of a lesson in not everything being black and white, because
Correct.
he meets this young lady, Elspeth,
Elspeth. Yeah.
Elspeth.
and the wee Morag, who I
Wee
love.
Morag.
I love that name. If I ever get another cat, that's going to be her name, wee Morag. But she's robbing graves so that she can feed them, and Aziraphale instantly thinks that she's doing evil, and comes to realize that not everything is so black and white.
Yeah, you see that diversity between them. Crowley is more less to the idea of how it's like, oh, she's evil, and then of course right away Aziraphale goes, she's evil. That's like plain and simple, because she's stealing a body and she's taking it for whatever. But as soon as he sees that she's there for Wee Morag, and it's to get them food, take care of themselves, set themselves up, you can tell Wee Morag is not feeling well, and they care for each other. Just two friends that are they're caring for each other, and that it's meant for money and to take care of each other. And it really is it's an eye-opening. And I think Crowley actually sees it too on the human perspective, because usually he's like, ooh, I love the evil. But then he starts to see, and he starts siding with Elspeth during it, and what her reasoning for it. And it's a bad to do good. And whereas Aziraphale thinks it's just bad. And then they meet up with the doctor that is the reason why
This is one of my points.
Okay.
Because I was kind of confused by this, but I got to think back to the 1800s, right? Because they call him a doctor, but he goes, no, I'm not a doctor. I'm a surgeon.
Or a chemist.
Now he says surgeon, because I just rewatched it today, because he says I'm a surgeon. And then Aziraphale calls himself a doctor. So he's calling them doctors, and he's a mister because he's a surgeon, which I didn't get, because we don't have that separation here in nowadays, right? We don't really. I mean, you have doctors who specialize
regular practitioner, and then you have an actual surgeon, specializes into something,
right? But we don't distinguish them title wise. We call them all doctors,
correct?
But I guess back then, if you were a surgeon, you were addressed as a surgeon, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And he convinces Aziraphale that what they're doing is good, because he's like, well, I have to teach my students how to cut into a body and how to identify places, and the fresher cadaver I have to teach them on, the better they're going to learn. He shows them those jars of that stuff that he has. He's got a tumor that he took out of a child, and all that kind of stuff. So it was an interesting conversation between Aziraphale and the surgeon, when he's convincing Aziraphale that this whole grave robbing thing is actually good.
And we do learn about laudanum. So, and what it does.
Elspeth does nick that from the doctor or the surgeon, actually.
Yes.
But I did like that discussion of what is good and what is bad, and that surgeon sets himself up to seem like he's doing the virtuous thing by taking these desecrated bodies and doing research on them, which is a good thing. But he also sits there and he's like, we just don't have enough murderers because if we had more murderers around here,
We'd
I'd
have
have
more
more availability to bodies.
Sounds like something out of Frankenstein. Mary Shelley there. Speaking of, now that October's not too far away and Halloween's not too far either. But that actually comes from that as well. That also gave me a little bit of hint of that. That's as morbid as it is, I like that. Well, Steve, did you have one that was favorite? But you already went into searching one.
I already kind of thought the surgeon doctor thing and all that was a really good discussion. Again, that's the I did notice the running gag. I think it goes from episode 3 to episode 4 is Crowley consistently in the bookshop carrying a stack of books and then just throwing them off to the side. Like that's a runner that they've been doing for both these episodes because Aziraphale's been gone. And I'm just like, what is he doing? Why is he carrying those books? And then he'll just throw them to the side. And I'm just like, what are you? So yeah, that for me was one of those moments every time that happened. I know that was in kind of the A plot story, but yeah, his manipulation of the weather, trying to get it to rain, and he gets the two women under the awning, but of course, before they can kiss, the awning breaks and they just get
Operation Lovebirds doesn't go well without a hitch, with a hitch that he wants. But yeah, they tried. They're still trying. They both want that to happen. It's their infatuation with the human condition, I think, and how they relate to each other. It's as if they're examining humans in their relationships so they could have better relationships.
Well, it's like they don't have a hands-on knowledge of what love is, at least for humans. They have a textbook knowledge of what love is, and
correct.
Aziraphale gets his textbook knowledge from Jane Austen, and Crowley gets it obviously from rom-coms, which I just imagine he sits around watching every evening.
Yeah. With me, that whole beginning of human talk with Muriel stopping into the shop dressed as a constable, but it looks like an older constable's uniform. It's all white. And somebody sees that from a distance, goes, okay, that's a thing.
Yeah, so not subtle. She's just like, it's so not subtle that
the constant talk between her and Crowley and Aziraphale, and then referencing human because she's referencing human.
Yeah, I'm a human police officer.
I'm a human police officer. Right away, they
Inspector
know you're
Constable.
Yeah, because Crowley corrects her. He goes, "But that's actually an inspector's uniform right there." Well, I'm an inspector.
It was a constable's uniform, but she said she was an inspector, and she's like, "Yes, I'm Inspector Constable."
Yeah.
So that heaven has no clue as to what happens on Earth and how things are. So they
and I love that. I love that quote from Crowley when he and Aziraphale go off to talk, and he's like, I don't know how you guys remained in charge. And Aziraphale says, "Are we actually in charge? Are we really? Do you really?
True. Oh man!"
And I love that she sits there and she catches on really quickly that she might have revealed herself as not being human. So she sits there. She says, "I've been here the whole time. I've been here 200 years."
Yeah.
Like it's not a big deal for any human to be around for 200 years.
Yeah, they have no
That's
concept
obviously
of time.
midlife right there.
I transferred from somewhere,
Yeah, she doesn't say. And then the whole thing about drinking tea. After Aziraphale gives it to her, she goes, "Well, I'll just hold it and look at it."
Yeah.
So
You can't be tempted the way Aziraphale was.
Yeah, which is so funny too, because as soon as they get tempted and they get into it, it's not a bad thing. Everybody loves her.
I love her character. She is absolutely adorable.
It's funny too, because this is like a foreshadowing only to what we see later on in the next episode with Shax. Too, because they wind up trying to do the same thing from hell as well. But of course, the wool is thrown over Aziraphale's face at that point, which brings me to the car with Aziraphale and how he takes the car, but the car literally drives him. He does not drive the car to Edinburgh. And I just love that aspect. And then the fact that during his travels, he changes. He goes. He's on the phone, or he's talking to Crowley, and he's like, "Well, are you eating sweets in my car?" He goes, "There's
One of
no
my
eating
favorites.
sweets in my car. Did you change it, Yellow? That's not what my car sounds like. Change it back."
Yeah.
So he kind of magicked it to be
Mhm.
what he wants. And he's like, "Oh, all right then." Puts it back. But I just like that, especially with the car. The car had its own personality, which was I
Mhm.
thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we
It
see
seems
that
to
more in
take
the
on
next
the
episode.
personality of whoever is driving it at the time, whether it's
Yeah.
Crowley or Aziraphale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's like the changing colored horse in The Wizard of Oz. If you think about it, it taps to somebody's mood, maybe.
Mhm.
Well, that was one of my points is Aziraphale and Crowley's manipulation of humans and objects. You know, I love how Aziraphale he politely asks the gentleman in the graveyard if he could borrow their cell phone.
Yeah. And then he charges
The
it for
guy's like,
him. And
I only use it for, I use it
Twitter
for
and Grinder.
Twitter and
Grinder.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
they
other guy
have
had
no
a
clue.
tattoo on his forehead. I was just,
I couldn't decipher it.
yeah.
But the fact is that they both, like, at that point were understanding and said, "Here's my phone. He's going to use it." And then he handed it back to him, and it was like, "Oh, it's fixed."
Yeah.
Well, you worry for poor Aziraphale, but he's so sweet and of course, angelic. The guy obviously hands him his phone, and he just talks to it and says, "Please call the phone in my bookshop."
Yeah.
It automatically rings through to the bookshop.
It magicked it, basically. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, done. I
They have
did
no
like
clue
that.
how human technology works, but they do like to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they manipulate it for what they need at times. But honestly, if you look at the bookshop and you look at his love of vinyl and music like that, he's still trapped in a certain age.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's all into the classics.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else did I saw that Jim apparently has his own mug.
Adorable.
It says
I
Jim's
love
mug
it.
on it. So obviously they had to separate certain things.
Mhm.
He's still in the bookshop. He was told to stay away. And I guess they told him that Wednesdays are
Yeah, bookshop is closed on Wednesdays. Yeah.
yeah.
So we didn't see much of him this episode. We saw some of him once Muriel left the bookshop, but
We saw the statue of him in the graveyard.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
one that true likeness of him. We saw the likeness of him that Aziraphale must have drawn of him, which was perfect. It looked nice
Mhm.
when he was talking to the pub owner. And that's when that's another part that I did enjoy, was seeing him go to the pub. Now when he approaches the pub, on one side of the sign it's a man robed. It looks like something out of biblical. It makes you
Mhm.
think of Gabriel himself. But on the other side it's a butcher.
Yeah. I thought that was, I didn't notice it the first time. The second time through, I noticed that change.
And it made me think of what the pub owner or the bartender stating that yes, he did come in and he was in this wonderful gray suit, and they're Masons, and he knew that they were Masons from down the road or something, but there was somebody else. So it's making me think that Gabriel, the reason why that pub was chosen, it was like destined for Gabriel and this other person who knows who it could be. It could be somebody from hell, because Gabriel
Mhm.
came from heaven.
Right.
And it was like a meeting place. And I don't know, that it just like launched ideas in my head. I was like, there's something going on there, and there's got to be a clue to the ending episode that brings everything together for each. Because the Book of Job that we dealt with in episode 2, Steve, obviously they got
Mhm.
that whole story wrong completely.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that the last episode.
But it was amusing nonetheless. They had their own little go of it and put their little twist on it. So, but this one, same thing. We find out it was a year ago to that everything was happening with the jukebox and the Buddy Holly song coming in, and I thought that was pretty cool. because it kind of opened up, and these are the little things that Aziraphale finds out, and he's all excited about. And I'm a journalist. I forget what he mentioned he was exactly, but it was basically a journalist.
Yeah.
I'll step into the confessional here and just let you guys know that I have already seen the whole series, but I'm not dropping any spoilers.
Okay.
I'm not even going to hint at that.
I've been
know
loyal
things.
to it being like episodically, or even if we're doing it doubling up. I've watched just those 2 episodes.
That was not going to work for me and my watch partner, who's my young teenage daughter, who couldn't wait to watch this. So as soon as we got the chance, we watched it together.
That's
totally
cool.
Understand.
That's still cool. I a friend of mine, my friend Teresa, actually watched it as soon as it came on that day. She watched the whole thing through. I said, "What are you going to watch now?" She goes, "There's something else." She goes, "I'll listen to you as you cover it, and then I'll watch it again." I was like, "Okay." But I know those people. I'm one of those people too. It's like if it's on Netflix, I got to breeze through the whole thing, but I'll forget majority of half of it, and then when we do the podcast, I'll watch it. But in this case, I wanted to watch it episodically.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all that I had within this. We pretty much have every little bit that came in.
Did you have something else there, Laura? I saw in the doc that you wanted to bring up.
All right.
Yeah. Let me see here. So, well, first I wanted to go a little bit into Elsbeth and Wee Morag. The one thing that gave me a little bit of a chill in this episode was when the cannon that was meant to protect the graves shot Wee Morag, and then she dies, and immediately Elsbeth's decision is to sell her body to Dr. Dalrymple. And I was like, oh, that's her, because this show's so full of humor, you don't really think that that's going to be a thing. And then that got a little dark there. And then she tried to kill herself, which Crowley stopped, which surprisingly, you thought that would be Aziraphale who tried to stop her. And all of a sudden Crowley does it by consuming the entire bottle of laudanum and then just tripping out completely.
That was a great scene. Him getting big and then getting small and don't step on me. And yeah.
I mean, if anything, if he was a true demon, he wouldn't have intervened, because that would have directly sent her down to hell. And he knew that he was the one to stop her and say, yeah, nope, not a good thing. And he encourages Aziraphale to give her money so that she can go buy a farm. And he says, go farm and be good. And he said, not pretendy good, proper good.
Yeah, I like that the theme we're kind of getting of this season, and I can't remember if it was this episode or the next episode when they talk about the black and the white, and Crowley says something about, well, it's the dark gray, and Aziraphale says no, it's a light gray. So they're really getting that. They're kind of mixing the two of these guys, because they both have been basically, for lack of a better term, Aziraphale has almost fallen himself, but he hasn't been rejected by heaven. But he's not part of heaven either. So he's kind of in between. And Crowley's the same way. He's still kind of part of hell, but not totally. And so these two guys that have been together for so long, it's interesting to see that juxtaposition is the only word that I can think of, that of these two guys. Like you said, Laura, Aziraphale, you would think would just let her kill herself, but he doesn't. Aziraphale's lying about things, and he's supposed to be the good one. So it's interesting.
It was just apparent in the last episode how lonely they were. They've both been isolated or exiled to Earth because they're supposed to be the hellish and heavenly ambassadors on Earth. And as Aziraphale tells Crowley how hard that must be to go so far with hell, but not all the way, where Aziraphale is kind of learning to do the same thing. He goes as far as he can for heaven, and then when his morals can't line up with what they dictate, he backs up or finds loopholes.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to see how this season plays out and how the rest of it goes. I agree with you, Laura. I like that we're getting more of character. It's not as much plot driven as it's character driven this season.
Yeah, I think the first season was more driven to the whole story with them consumed with it, whereas this is more about them. which
Mm-hmm.
probably is what Neil Gaiman's idea of, like, because the characters are beloved from that. Everybody just loved the distinctness of each character and how they were.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, when I read this book back in the 90s, I loved the characters. So loved them even more when they were played by David Tennant and Michael Sheen, because they just embody those characters completely.
Yeah. And it's a complete different character for Tennant if you think of him as the Doctor or as Kilgrave in Jessica Jones. So so in Doctor Who, he's a completely different character, and then Kilgrave is extremely evil if you think about it. He's
Well, and Michael Sheen has done so many characters. I mean, he was in Prodigal Son. He played the father in Prodigal Son, the serial killer, and looks nothing like how he looks as Aziraphale. They completely change his look and everything about him, and he gets into a character that way that's really, really great. And Tennant's the same way. He's getting into this character, and like Mark, you and I we've talked about before. They did the whole first season, so they really have this kind of chemistry with each other.
Yeah, and you could see it too on YouTube during the pandemic. They did a couple of things together, which were pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, staged. My daughter and I are watching through that now.
Oh, nice.
She's obsessed with these two, I'm telling you.
It's like the Laurel of Hardy of today, I think, kind of like, but in a sense where they know how to play off each other perfectly, no matter what characters they get too. So I'm curious if they would actually do something later in the future, just on their own. I would love to see that.
Yeah. I think there's one main thing that we missed that we might want to discuss is almost at the end of the episode, we get Gabriel's kind of memory or prophecy.
Yes. It's like an end
Crowley
of days.
Starts pushing him. Yeah, and he starts to repeat some things. And I wrote down, he said, "The dead will leave their graves and walk the earth once more." And that to me sounds like some rapture going on there.
Correct.
Where the dead will
very
rise.
apocalyptic. Yeah.
Because that is, one of the things that is talked about in I don't know if it's Revelations or the Rapture, but yes, it's the rising up of the dead with the second coming of Christ.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't want to get into the theology of it and all that because it's so convoluted a lot of times. But I like, Lara, you had in your notes about Shaq's body sweeping, because what we're going to see, we saw in this episode, is she confronts Crowley about, is Gabriel in the bookshop, and Crowley's trying to convince her no, he's not in the bookshop, and she just keeps continually repeating to him, he's in the bookshop, but I realized, and I think it's actually the next episode 4 where they point this out, the bookshop is apparently on the grounds of a church, was formerly a church, so it's like holy ground, and she can't enter unless she's invited.
Correct.
I don't remember if that I mean, they might have. I can't remember if they said that was on a church, but I think he said it's basically still like an embassy for heaven. So it's like the U.S. embassy in another country, but it's kind of like still under heaven's protection.
Even though heaven didn't know where it was exactly, because maybe it's because he was an angel and he opened it up as his own being. Since he's an angel from heaven, he has jurisdiction over it, so they have to be invited in. Very much like a vampire into your own home.
Yeah, the angels can go in. It's just the demons that can't.
Yeah.
Well, even still, they do ask for an invitation. Look at Muriel. She got asked to come in. She asked to come in as well. But it's still funny how, whether it be Shax or Muriel or anybody that looks at Gabriel, they don't see him. And it's only Aziraphale and Crowley that know that's Gabriel.
Yeah.
And their minor miracle that they were supposed to create, their very undetectable minor miracle, apparently was 25 Lazari strong.
I thought that was great when Crowley brings that up in episode 3, where he says, "Oh, that's how you measure the strength of miracles, how many people it could bring back to life." And I still wonder. I'm still a little bit on the fence about whether it was their miracle or whether Gabriel did something to, jack up the power of their miracle, or just his mere presence of being in the shop when they did their miracle jacked up the power of it. Because you would think
Or maybe what was inside the box that we didn't know.
That could be also, and we're still seeing this fly that's flying around that we don't know what that is, what the fly of it all is. So that's gonna be a
Schrodinger's
later.
cat. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Was there anything else that you guys had?
Well, that was in my notes, Steve, that the Shaq's switching bodies like that reminded me of Fallen with Denzel Washington, if you've ever seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Where he's trying to defeat a demon, and the
Mhm.
demon just keeps jumping from body to body.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Actually, I like that scene. And I just was going to say, because I haven't been listening lately, but I used to be a really avid listener of the Lara podcast, which always recounts unusual and bizarre, sometimes surreal stories from history. And this story is actually based on these body snatchers in 1827 Scotland in Edinburgh.
Okay.
And if you go back, I think it's Lore Podcast 47. I looked it up today, but I didn't actually have time to listen to it. They discuss how the rise of modern medical surgeons and doctors and needing to explore human bodies actually led to this rash of body snatchers in that time period. And I think there's even more to the story, but yeah, I love how Neil Gaiman is always trying to weave in actual unusual, usually, events from history and from mythology and from religion and stuff like that into his works. If you've ever read any more of his works, especially in The Sandman, they do that a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As well as American Gods too, especially the depiction and the structure of those particular religious deities that they had within that. That was a show. The first season was done very well. The second one kind of fell off after a while with the writing.
Yeah, it was not good.
No. But all right. So we can move on to season 4.
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. The Hitchhiker, featuring the minisode Nazi zombie flesh eaters.
I love it. Aziraphale's good deed of picking up a hitchhiker on his way back to Soho proves to be a serious mistake. In 1941, Crowley and Aziraphale encounter some surprising adversaries, old and new, as the Nazi spies who almost entrapped Aziraphale return as zombies from the dead, intent on preventing him from attempting a bullet catch on the West End stage. That's a little misleading because really they weren't trying to stop his trick. They were just trying to prove that he and Crowley were working together.
That's literally what it was. They were trying to catch them in the act of working together, and that way they could bring it to Beelzebub and be like, "Aha, we got them!" And then they could knock off the punch card for the zombies,
the miracle blocker. Yeah,
Hell's TMZ.
Yeah, literally.
They were trying to catch them in the act.
Yeah, I actually really like this one. I think it had the zombie element, but also the minisode was literally within that 1941 Nazi Germany, and then they had that, and then of course we get to see a Nazi, get eaten by a spider and defecated out and to a fly, and then wash, rinse, repeat over and over again, meaning his eternity, which thankfully that would be for a Nazi, a German Nazi, for that time. It was a little bit weird to see it on that TV though, because it was an old tube TV, CRT, and it's kind of all granulated, so it kind of makes up for the CG that they used, but it kind of worked in its process. But I just really enjoyed this. I just loved the minisode because of the time it was in, and I just I don't know, maybe it's because I was watching it, the Nazi Germany part of it, of like the bombs and everything, especially with the whole introduction. It's like, well, we'll find out if the bombs could kill us or whatever, and then they were gone and they were dead. But to see hell the way it was, and the hell that it was to get into hell with all the paperwork that you have to go through. And it just reminded me something way out of Beetlejuice. So I was like, Yeah, and because if you remember when they wind up being dead, Gina Davis and forgetting his name, but
Jeff Goldblum.
Not Jeff Goldblum.
No, oh no, you're right. Not
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah,
there
one
you
of the
go.
Baldwin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Beetlejuice, we're supposed to get Beetlejuice too, but who knows with this writers strike and
we'll see.
SAG-AFTRA. But it was pretty cool. And then we get to see a little bit more of Beelzebub and how she's involved with locating Gabriel while sending out checks. It's like her right hand person to send down to do the dirty work to get Gabriel back. And I thought
that was
cool.
an interesting aspect of the storyline of Beelzebub kind of being in charge of whatever that section was, or several sections kind of being not really, but like they also talk about taking his body or taking Gabriel to Satan. So I wonder if we're going to see Satan this season or not, or if it's just going to be Beelzebub. I thought that was an interesting aspect of it. The fact that Beelzebub is kind of like a wouldn't be the CEO, but would be the person just below the CEO, maybe. Like if Satan is the CEO, then you have Beelzebub, who's the whatever
regional
CFO.
corporate manager.
Sure, there you go. Assistant to the regional corporate. Yeah. But yeah, the guy with the eye patch, that we've seen him a few times throughout these episodes. But yeah, that was an interesting scene, showing us kind of getting a glimpse of what hell is like.
Yeah, I thought this episode, I liked the creepy beginning with Shax as the hitchhiker. That gave me nice, like, goosebump vibes. Got a little bit dull for me the first time in the middle, which is funny because it has zombies and demons and it should be interesting. Yeah. But on second watch, I got into the fun of the horror of it and everything and enjoyed it a little bit more.
Well, the humor of the zombies is what really got me, because I just like that. It's like that Shaun of the Dead goofiness of everything, and especially when they're conscious zombies at that point and aware, even though they still have to eat the person that they see in what was it,
the magic shop? The magic shop.
No,
the church also, yeah, but yeah,
the church in the beginning, so they got full up on that, and then of course in the magic shop, and then the antics that they had. It's like, sir, all the sleight of hand tricks are over back that way.
Yeah,
but yeah, I really enjoyed it overall. It kept me captivated, motivated. I don't know, maybe with the bullet catch, it just gave me that point of the Prestige. And just like, I want to go back and watch that movie now.
Yeah.
With Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. And that was a big point in that movie too. But in this case, you're waiting for something. And what's this about paperwork, about the mess that they could? So is this the first time that we're figuring out that if they get hurt or damaged in this on Earth, it's permanent or something? Can they be killed in some way and then brought back to heaven or hell?
Yeah, I didn't understand that side, that part of what they were talking about, the paperwork they would have to do if one of them got hurt. I didn't, because we haven't seen that happen before, really.
They mentioned it in the first season that they can be, their bodies can die, they can get discorporated, they'll just go back to heaven or hell. And then apparently there's a lot of paperwork that goes on with it before they can come back to Earth. And we saw in first season when Aziraphale got into the Holy Circle, he got sucked up into heaven, and then he had to kind of find his way back down to Earth again, but he didn't have a body to return to. That's why he had to possess Madame Tracy.
Okay. And Crowley was stuck in hell at one point in the bathtub, I recall, in the first season as well, and he had to find his way back.
It wasn't Crowley. It was Aziraphale.
Yeah, I remember they switched.
That's right. I forgot. It's been so long.
They switched bodies so they could each endure the torture that they were going to get from heaven and hell.
Yeah, because it was a switcheroo. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the things that we have to go back to now makes you want to go watch that season.
Yeah,
I did like getting the return of the 3 Nazis from season 1, though. So we did get. I had mentioned. When I wrote to Derek at TV Podcast Industries that I kind of missed seeing some of the characters from the first season. And I was hoping we'd get maybe Anathema or Madame Tracy or someone again. But we got the Nazis. And we find out their fate after they get bombed. They go to hell and they're given the option to become zombie spies for hell.
Yeah, I thought that was great. And then at the end, when they finish their mission, but they don't actually succeed. They're they're like, "Are you not going to turn us back to human?" Oh no, you're eternally going to be a zombie now, living on Earth. And so I wonder if they're going to come up later as zombies, either in this season or possibly the next season.
They got away, so maybe next season.
And he said that they would be that way forever, you know,
eternity, literally on Earth, walk the Earth. Now the question
as his left arm falls off.
Yeah. He goes, "Here, hold this." But I'm curious though if they bite somebody, if it's something that becomes infectious, or it's just something that's just mystified zombieism for that they have to roam around like that forever, and that's their hell. That's basically their living hell if you think about it. But at least they're not going down there with the spider and having to deal with that anymore.
Right? Which is a worse fate.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, they get the num-nums for the brains too, so they get a little, sweet taste of that at least.
So these are Return of the Living Dead zombies. They have to go for the brains.
Yeah.
They don't just eat anything, any old human. They got to go for brains so that they can get the residual thoughts.
But they're not going to eat your eyes. But they're not going to eat your eyes. So.
They're not what?
They're not going to eat your eyes. Isn't that how the song goes?
He continues the song that was it the groundskeeper that they ate was singing.
Yeah, and he just continues the song because it's stuck in the brain and that he ate.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Is verse coming up again?
Yep. Oh, another verse. Oh no. Yeah, I do agree with you though with Shax in the very beginning. It's like she just basically pestered Aziraphale the whole time to get the information. I know where he is now. And of course, later on we see her. She gets there. She can't get in, but he goes, "You're more than welcome to look around, and you won't find anything."
And Gabriel's in the background. "Hello, customer."
And she can't see it.
Yep, she doesn't recognize him.
They did their miracle exceptionally well.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's going to go too well at the very end where it's like, we have to show him to this person. Well, then they got to do another miracle. Oh, that's more paperwork.
And I like what a bad liar Aziraphale is, because she mentions Gabriel and he's like, "Gabriel who? I don't know Gabriel. That's like someone who works at Apple who's like, Steve Jobs who? I don't know this person."
Yeah.
Steve Jobs who? Oh, okay. This is part of the minisode. I do like the fact that Crowley was actually willing to deliver. What's the name of this of the show that they were doing at the theater? Was the Ladies of Lancelot?
Ladies of Camelot.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he's there to deliver the liquor, but of course the liquor gets the 80 bottles of whiskey gets broken because he was parked next to the church that got bombed. And then that's where they get into this whole thing where because the magician was arrested by the Nazis, I forget what it was for.
Deserter.
Oh, he was a deserter.
Yeah, he was a deserter. Right.
I thought it was some sort of working with the other people, but and then he offers up his magics. So I thought it was pretty cool. The fact that he goes, "I could help. I could help with the thrifty digitation." And he's there farting out with his hands.
Yeah. I love how Michael Sheen he says, "I have skills in prestidigitation." He says it with such flourish.
Yeah.
Flamboyancy of it, and now it's like he's there. He's a showman. But the fact that they actually have to go to the magic shop, and of course Crowley is actually trying to be helpful and saying, "You're a great magician. You can do this." And it's like, wow, this is something positive from Crowley at this point. It's not negative. He's actually trying to help and support him.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, he's like, "You're going to be a professional. You're going to be a professional musician. They're going to pay you to be a musician, so it means you're a professional."
Yeah.
I thought
and then when the guy,
sweet.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. And then they get to the magic shop, and of course, the magic shop owner calls him an amateur. What? I'm not an amateur. I'm working the West End of London. for a major show. And then he shows them the rope trick, how long it'd be, and they're like, "Oh, okay." He tries to do the sleight of hand with the money.
The rings, and the money, and
It gets to that point, but they're being looked at, monitored by the Nazi zombies, because they're trying to get that, because Mr. Harmony tells them that they have to get that evidence. So the ring that they have to use to call him once they could get that moment captured, and obviously get their notches clicked on their subway card. I mean, their magic card to get back. Subway sandwich card. If you think about it, that's what I was thinking. And
I love the miracle blocker.
Yeah.
Which actually did happen in the scene, but within the magic shop, they I love how it's like the owner tells him in the back for the hand magics to the zombie, and he's like, "Ugh," and he's got the glasses on at that point, still trying, but he tries to do the ring at the right moment, and it's wrong because he's got something else on there. Or does he I forget, did he hurt his finger and it squirted, or was there something else that he put on his finger that squirted?
He picked up a gag ring that looked just like the ring that
okay, that's what I thought it was.
And it squirted ink in his face.
So, and then they couldn't make it at that time. So, yeah, I thought it was funny. And then they were able to do it, but then there was that whole business about the catching the bullet.
Yeah, I love how at the beginning they're on stage there, and Aziraphale asks if anyone in the audience knows how to fire a weapon or use the rifle, and like it's all army guys, and everybody's hands go up except for Crowley. Like he's the only one who just sits there like he's not paying attention at all. And so finally, when Aziraphale points him out, Crowley goes, "Oh yeah, I can do it." So like,
Sir, you, and everybody's like, "Okay, not me."
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Aziraphale has a gun license and a Derringer in his shop, and Crowley doesn't even know how to shoot a gun. Is perfectly ironic.
Yeah, it is. He goes, "Oh, you must have shot lots of times because you're a demon. You must know your way around guns." Oh yeah, sure. But of course, Aziraphale has it in a book hollowed out in. I forget what book he told. He mentioned it, and then he said just in case. Which is funny.
Yeah. Especially when you think of London and all the rules and laws they have there. So,
and also he's an angel.
He's an angel.
He can work miracles.
Yeah, he could change people's minds if he wanted to with a miracle.
Yeah, I love how he had to throw out his whole entire act because of the miracle blocker. He's trying to change the turnip into an inkwell, and it's not happening. And he's like, "Okay, let's skip right to the end, to the bullet catch." And it actually ends up working. As Crowley misses him, the bullet goes into the wall right above the promoter there, and then Michael Sheen smiles, and he's got the bullet in his teeth, and everybody cheers. And so it was really cool to see, like you said, Laura. That's very, very endearing to see them kind of working together and stuff. But then, of course, Shax takes that picture with the Polaroid and threatens them with it, which that was a little strange to me. Why would you give your evidence to the people that you're black, like that you're trying to get?
Mr. Harmony is not bright at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, considering look at how his day started. He went to go get a cup of flame, and it just burnt up his cup. And then Shax at that point just grabs it and just drinks it with no problem. So he was having a bad day as it was. He wanted to be moved up. He wanted to be, do something better with his job. So he thought this was his, his way of like moving up the ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they bring back Aziraphale's penchant for wanting to be a magician, because that was in the first season too.
Mm-hmm.
He tells Crowley that he can do a magic trick at the kid's birthday party, and it turns out terribly, just like this one. And when Crowley tells him, maybe you should give up on the magic. And it's just hilarious that Aziraphale loves these little things. I mean, he can perform like spectacular miracles, but he wants to learn practical magic.
Right.
Yeah. Well, he wants to be more human. And I think that's between both of them, how they feel, whether a demon wants to be a little bit more human and be involved with that and staying on Earth, I think that's why Crowley wants to stay, because he just likes the idea. He likes the madness of it, of how humans can be, whereas Aziraphale is more attracted to the people and how they can be with love and interest, and then Crowley has that kind of same interest as well to some degree, and that's what attracts them to be together on the earth. But yeah, this was a fun one. I just like the whole conversation though within the within the dressing room when the zombie Mr. Harmony brings in the zombies at that point, and Crowley does not recognize Mr. Harmony. Mr. Harmony goes, "I was with you during the wars. I was the monkey on your backside. I was there helping you right along with you. You should know my name."
Yeah.
Nope, not a clue.
We fought side by side. Yeah, that was
not a clue. Sorry. You aren't that. Yes.
and there's a moment there. I didn't notice in the first watch, but actually, this was my first watch of episode 4. But that moment when, even though they don't succeed in proving that Crowley and Aziraphale were working together, he still gets sucked down into hell, and that's when we get that almost seemed like a throwaway line from Aziraphale and I didn't see Crowley for a long time after that, and so we're going to have some sort of a time jump of when's the next time they're going to see each other, because in 1941 he got sucked into hell.
Actually, in Edinburgh.
Is it okay?
After he had his laudanum and he did his good deed, even though he said he was mad on laudanum that made him do.
Okay, now I'm confused.
So maybe 1941 was the next time he saw him again.
Yeah, almost 100 years later. So okay, now that makes sense. Thank you. I was a little confused. I'm getting the 2 episodes mixed up in my head now.
Which actually tells us exactly what happens with laudanum to them at that point. I wonder what it does that to Crowley, but what would it do to Aziraphale? I'm curious what that would happen. What would happen to him? Because you got a demon that would do that to a demon, but will it be a different effect onto Aziraphale?
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I just love the depictions of heaven and hell as basically 2 very different workplaces. Hell is like the worst factory style office you could ever see. It's got bad lighting, it's got cramped quarters, no windows, it's just
dirty,
disgusting, and heaven is almost the opposite, but just as bad. It's completely generic and sanitized, and not a single extra or personalized thing, nothing to give it any warmth at all.
It's like not a spot of dirt anywhere, and it's just so like you said, it was too sanitary, and on top of that it's too bright. Whereas whereas with hell it was a little bit different, but you also have that recording that introduces everybody to where they are, and it's constantly going. So think of working in that condition as a demon. As you're doing paperwork, you got to hear this over again and again and again.
And we find out that hell is just red tape, petty bureaucracies, and lots of paperwork.
Yep. But the one note that I had that I thought was very funny is when they were trying to practice the bullet catch, and they were trying to go over and how they were going to do everything. Crowley's American accent to Aziraphale, and it was pretty funny. It's like the typical British humor of how the English think of Americans when they speak. But that was it for me. If you have anything else,
that's all I got.
The only thing I looked up you guys can debate me if this is right or wrong, and I had thought about this a while back, but if we were to give Aziraphale and Crowley their D&D alignments, I believe that Aziraphale would be lawful good and Crowley would be chaotic neutral. At first I thought chaotic evil, but then I looked up the definitions, and lawful good is a lawful good character typically acts with compassion and always with honor and a sense of duty. However, lawful good characters will often regret taking any action they fear would violate their code, even if they recognize such action as being good. Whereas chaotic neutral is a chaotic neutral character is an individualist who follows their own heart and generally shirks rules and traditions. Although chaotic neutral characters promote the ideals of freedom, it is their own freedom that comes first. Good and evil come second to their need to be free, which sounds a lot like Crowley to me.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, he does it for his own self intentions and his curiosity, I think.
And I felt it was not chaotic evil, because it said that chaotic evil characters they care more about their freedom than even the lives or well-being of anyone else.
Yeah,
it's
not chaotic good. I don't remember the definition of chaotic good. I know in my 20s when I played a little bit of D&D, I think I often leaned toward a chaotic neutral character, just as it meant you could basically do your own thing. You could do basically whatever you wanted. You weren't held into a strict guideline of, well, you have to act like this, you know, so that's where I think a lot of my characters fell, was in that chaotic neutral kind of. But
just thought it would be interesting to figure this out, since they're both trying to pull and push each other a little bit towards the center again, you know, because Crowley tries to pull the good out of, Aziraphale tries to pull the good out of Crowley, while Crowley tries to get him to shirk the rules sometimes when he sees that it's not going to line up with his morality or Aziraphale's morality. That's all I had.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. I like that. I love your little analysis with D&D references. I'm sure somebody out there has the same thought too. But if you guys do, always write in. So, yeah, I don't have any more quotes. Basically, I just had that.
Yeah.
That one. And that was it.
The only one I had was the demon who was talking to Beelzebub. And I thought he had a great quote that said, "A day that I don't get sent to the dung pits is a good day." Like, words to live by.
That is words to live by.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued with Mr. Was it Shax or Mr. Hart? I guess it was Shax who approached Beelzebub about wanting to attack the bookshop.
Yes.
And she says, well, are you telling me to do that? Do you want me to do that? And Beelzebub is like, no, I'm ordering you to do it and take all the forces of hell against the bookshop. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out over the next couple episodes, because of course Gabriel, being the supreme archangel, how is that fight gonna go? Be interesting to see what happens there. I'm intrigued by that. I want to see how that's going to get depicted on screen. I think it's going to be interesting.
Same here.
And of course we need the finish our storyline with the two women and with Muriel doing her investigation. We didn't talk about that in episode 3 when she goes into the coffee shop and is talking to the black woman, the African American woman, Ina. Thank you. About love and what kind of things she thinks about love, and so get out of my shop. Yeah,
she stopped that pretty quickly, especially because the woman who came in for coffee earlier said, "Oh, so someone's got a particular type of kink."
Well, that was it for me. So I think I'm done. What about you guys?
That's all I got.
That's all you got? All right.
Well, I'm ready for these next couple episodes and see where they take us.
Cool. All right. Well, that was our coverage of Good Omens Season 2, Episodes 3 and 4. So we're going to move right along into podcast recommendations.
The two that I have, and we've talked about them before, the Podcastica. The Podcastica has one called the Star Wars Cast, where they're covering Ahsoka on there. It's really good. Jonathan James and Kristen are doing that one. And then, of course, the Revisited podcast with Ben and Kristen. They are finishing up Lost. They're going to actually the series finale is going to be recorded this week. And then in a couple of weeks, they may do a short one over a kind of a deleted scene from Lost. They're going to do a short one over that, and then they'll move into Ted Lasso with the Revisited podcast. So it's going to be interesting to watch Ted Lasso again, because I just recently watched it, watched the first 2 seasons, and of course only watched the third season once. So
yeah, it's weird. I only watched the first season, I think twice, during the time when it came out. Or no, it was it was almost by season 2. Because we were in Hershey at that time, and I think that's when season 2 came out. And then I watched it then, and then I watched it, I would say, about 6 months ago. So it's been a little bit, so I could always go back and revisit and watch it as I listen to them and their coverage. So yeah, and then you said it with James and Jonathan and Kristen on the Star Wars Cast on podcast doing Ahsoka. That's good too. And they should be coming out with what is it, episode 4?
Episode 4 is going to be tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday, so episode 4 will drop tomorrow. I don't know when they'll record it. They record usually Thursday or Friday.
That'll be cool. And then to add to that, for Podcast Skill Love, I would say Run for Your Lives with their coverage. They're actually covering Deep Impact this week. So they're asking, by the time you guys get this, it'll probably be towards the end of the week and it would already be dropped, but you can always go listen to it. And I'll try to leave feedback for that too, because I really did enjoy Deep Impact in comparison to Armageddon. Both are very similar because they came around the same time that year. But I always was drawn more towards Deep Impact for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's because of the how more dramatic it was in comparison to Armageddon, where you had all the humor inside and the heavy action, because it was I think it was a Bruckheimer film, that one. But with Deep Impact, it was a little bit more dramatic because you had Tay Leone, and she wasn't playing your typical comedic style. She was playing more of a more serious, dramatic character. And then we had Morgan Freeman, who was probably one of the best presidents on screen. So I'm looking forward to that. And then obviously, just to promote what I was doing recently, I was just recently on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, and we did our top 5 movie posters that are out there too. So you could check out what we thought. It was like kind of like a fantasy pick kind of movie poster poll. Unfortunately, there was issues with recording the first time, so we had to record it again. That's what happens when computers crash in the middle of recording. But you can check that out too. So obviously, like I said, Run for Your Lives on Podcast Go with Deep Impact, and then Fantasy Picks Movie Edition with our top 5 movie posters of all time on PowerCore Entertainment.
Great.
Lara?
I don't know. I haven't been able to watch a lot lately, but I have been slowly going back through, is it season 4 of Black Mirror with Paik and Rima over at Strange Indeed covering it.
Yeah.
That's been a really great season. So I am down to the last episode, and I've enjoyed all the ones that I've watched this season. I'm going to watch the last one, and then who knows, by the time I'm done with that, I might try and go back and finish watching Mike Flanagan's Midnight Club.
Midnight Mass?
Midnight Club. No,
yeah.
Midnight Club, yeah. I only got halfway through that. I didn't get to finish it the first time. And Mike Flanagan's coming out with a new series, limited series on Netflix. His last one, Fall of the House of Usher, which I'm super stoked for. So I think I want to finish up Midnight Club before that one starts in October.
Yeah, that's the Full House of Usher. That's going to be a more modern take on an Edgar Allan Poe story, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's modern in the sense that I grew up with the whole Vincent Price version way back when. So this is going to be a little bit hard to consume at times, because I look at that as kind of the old Hammer and even Universal Monster days. Like, I just look at them as classics.
Yeah.
And like, how dare you remake this? But I'll take it with a grain of salt and just watch it and see if I do like it, and keep an open mind. I'm looking forward to it, and when I'm pretty sure that Rima and Paker, they're going to be doing that one as well, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. For a little bit of news out there for you listeners who are into Neil Gaiman. So if you go to shop.gaiman-4play.com, you could actually purchase his. A lot of people saying it's his debut album. I'm thinking that he did another one. It just says new album, but it's called Signs of Life, and it's with the 4-play string quartet. And they have colored vinyl editions. They have the CDs as well, and you could secure it on that. I will leave the link below in the show notes, so that way if you guys are interested in purchasing it. So aside from the WGA strikes and the Actors Guild, the SAG-AFTRA strikes that are going on, Mr. Gaiman is hard at work making music too as well, and he's also a teacher. So there are a few presentations going on at Bard College. I have not looked when he is scheduled, but you could always go there. You could always go to the Bard College website, because that he is a professor there, and he does. They do sell tickets for those events that he does. A lot of them are writing classes or lectures, or sometimes we'll have guests on to interview who are other writers or people in film industry. But at this point, probably not people in the film industry. It's probably going to be more writers. But right now we're at the point of, sending in your feedback. Unfortunately, I didn't put anything in. It was kind of last minute. We just threw this together, so I didn't put an image up. Sorry about that. But on the weekend before we actually do this next week, I will be putting in an image, so that way if you guys feel the need and you want to say and get your voice heard or write something down, you can. So before we get into the actual getting us the feedback, the best thing you could do is tell a friend. Word of mouth is the best thing, and you could tell them where we could be heard, which would be Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice. And if you're there or your friend is there, please give us a rating or review. Apple Podcast is the preferred method of rating, apparently. So a lot of people do judge their podcast listening on those. We've had a few. I think we have a total of 6 or 7 for Panels to Pixels. I have a total of 5 on Adrenaline Cinema Podcast. So it's a great thing. So if you guys could do that, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you could actually write notes, because they stand out more. So yeah, and just be honest. I'm always honest with mine, and I will send it out. I don't mind criticism. It's fine. You could find us on Facebook, and that's usually where you could send your feedback. Like I said, I would put an image up there saying what we're covering on the next episode, and you just leave your comments down below that image. All you have to do is go to facebook.com/panels to pixels. And we have an email, panelstopixels1@gmail.com. Panels spelt out, 2 spelt out, TO, and pixels in the number 1@gmail. You could just write out a regular texted email and your thoughts, and we'll read them on the podcast when we're there. It doesn't necessarily have to be for the particular episode that we're covering. It could be a previous one, so that if you feel like what I did on Howard the Duck with Dez and had fun with that, you could say, or how bad the movie was. I don't mind. Go ahead. Everybody has opinions, and I allow them here. But you could easily just write it out, and we'll read it on the podcast. Or if you feel like you don't want us to read your feedback from an email, you could easily record yourself with the devices that you have out there. iPads, computers, everything has a built-in microphone. Just record yourself, save it as a WAV file or whatever, and then send it as an attachment, and we'll play it on the podcast. And that way you could be part of the podcast. And then we'll punch that in, and we'll actually give comments too, or laugh, because every time Steve does, and he does a live Steve, we have fun because we gotta laugh at it.
Yeah,
because
you
it's
gotta
like,
laugh.
well, it's fun to listen to it. It's like you getting your expression as you're first watching. So it's like it's a laugh of like happiness of like, wow, he's really into it, or wow, he didn't like that part, or you got the mic drop.
Yeah.
You could listen to us or watch us on YouTube. So you can find us on YouTube. All you have to do is search Panels to Pixels podcast. Subscribe, ring the bell. Please give us a thumbs up while you're there. A lot of people use that as a platform. We did get feedback. Unfortunately, I did not pick it. So I will be picking it and I'll be putting it in the notes for next week. I was kind of busy with work. I've been doing at least 12-hour days, depending on the day that it is. So it's like 10 plus or 12 plus. So you'll get that in next week. We could be found on Instagram. So I do been doing promotion on that. So at Panels to Pixels podcast. So just check it out there. I'll throw the image. I actually been promoting the episodes on that as well. And people have been liking it. And I've noticed a lot of new listeners, not just from people following us on Instagram or Facebook, because I see it, everybody. And I thank you too. It's awesome that we're getting this attention. So, I guess I've been pretty much paying attention to a lot of this stuff lately now. It's fun.
Good.
But you could follow us on at Panels to Pixels podcast on Instagram. And then you'll be apprised of what we're going to be covering and what is out already. So, but now we're at the point of where else can listeners hear us?
Well, as Mark mentioned, I do send in voicemails to various podcasts that our friends do. And sometimes I'll do a live Steve where I'm just basically recording my thoughts as I go through an episode of TV or a movie, depending on what the thing is. And people seem to enjoy it. So I'm going to keep doing it as long as people keep enjoying it. So
keep doing it, Steve.
Thank you.
I can be heard here intermittently on and off on this one with someone named Steve covering The Witcher sometimes.
Yeah,
Eventually.
we'll be back.
And also on Adrenaline Cinema podcast, where we recently did interview with the Vampire AMC's show recently with Danny.
Mhm.
That was a fun show. We just covered the entire first season, which was really fun. So yeah, I'll pop in every now and then.
And we'll be back too on Adrenaline Cinema podcast to cover the actual, what year was Interview with the Vampire? 1990.
90s, I think.
Yeah. So we'll be covering the original movie before season 2 of Interview with the Vampire
The
comes
Brad
out.
Pitt and Tom Cruise movie.
That
Uh-huh.
is.
And
So
Christian
gonna be-
Slater, right?
Too much sexy.
Yeah.
And
Christian
Antonio
Slater.
Banderas.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But we'll have some interesting and unknown facts for that particular movie. We'll be covering it. We'll discuss how it holds up today. We'll probably give some mentions to the sequel that came out after that, which was Queen of the Damned, I believe. And we might eventually cover that because that's another Lestat movie.
I'll suffer my way through it.
I found it amusing. But
And it's nice to hear that the AMC has made separate contracts with both Walking Dead and the Interview with the Vampire series. So those two franchises are back on track.
they're back on track. There were amendments that were made through SAG-AFTRA, and they were written before the WGA strikes. So since they already had them in the can, just like with Kevin Smith, who I follow as well and have met a bunch of times and interviewed here on this particular podcast, Kevin is filming his new feature, the 4:30 film. So he was able to get an amendment. So AMC was still able to do that with Walking Dead related content as well as with Interview with the Vampire. So they're starting to make certain sort of amendments because they know if they fall back on this stuff, a lot of the content will be out there. So the strike should still keep going. They should come to some sort of compromise on both ends. And I do agree with the Writers Guild, and I do agree with the actors. They all should be paid in some way. That's just my thought. But, it's the higher ups in the film industry and TV industry at this point. And hopefully they'll come to an agreement, and then we'll be back on track and we'll have more content for you. So with that was our episode of Pounds to Pixels on Good Omens Season 2, episodes 3 and 4. Look forward to Season 2, episodes 5 and 6. So we'll be doing that next week. So check that out and check the media that we mentioned, so that way you can be up to date. So I am Mark.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Lara.
Same podcast, different panel, different pixel. And this was Panels to Pixels podcast. We will see you on the next panel. Good night, everybody.
Good night.